fixing a rusted piece in a quarter panel on a '69 Chevy Impala. First we clean it out as much as we can, then we're going to cut some of this rust out of here.
I don't have your face.
Okay, now back up over that way.
Yeah, I have the picture of the dent, but I don't get your face at all. Now I got your face. Okay, you're going to start grinding? I should move over there? Let me get out of here. I'm getting that stuff all over me.
Get over here.
Yeah, it's going my direction. I have my hands over my eyes.
Wait a minute, wait a minute.
Right.
Today we're going to be taking out some rusty metal and replacing this quarter panel. The best way to do it is to cut all the rust out and cut out a new piece of metal and weld it where we took the old piece out. This is part of the rusty piece. You can see the damage. A lot of rust in here. I'm going to cut some of it away right now. My hair on fire? Gun. We use these nails. They're loaded in the tip. We weld them to the dent. Then we use the hammer handle to yank out the dent. Then once the dent is out, we cut off the nails with a grinding disc, and then we primer and finish up. This is the same dent that we started with. That was pretty rough, pretty bad. As you can see, we've pulled it out a little bit. As you can see, this is the welding gun, electrical, welding tip, put the nails in the tip, and that's how they stay on. Then we take our hammer gun, we connect it to the nails, and we pull the dent out. You use the various nails to get the different areas. And then we cut these off with a disc and make sure that it's straight. Now you can pick up these guns from a shop, or you can look around town at various pawn shops or hardware stores. Maybe there's one in the paper. That's the way to go. Just check it, make sure plug it in, make sure they weld. And it's a good part, good tool to have in your arsenal. As you can see, I've added a couple more nails, and it's starting to get with the body line. So we will be bondoing and surface priming to get it back where it was. But it's coming along, as you can see from the earlier photos, how far in this dent really was. And you check it by looking down the body line, and it's pretty straight. Now we will cut the nails off with a disc and continue on. Okay, once we've gotten the dent out, we have to get rid of these nails. You can cut them off with a high-speed grinder if you have one, or do it the old-fashioned way with some clippers. So you want to cut these down as far as you can. Some of them come off easy, some of them are a little harder, but in the end you're going to be grinding this down anyhow. So and you want to wear gloves. Always wear gloves and safety goggles, because the smallest piece of metal in your eye doesn't feel very good. Now we have this character line where the trim goes, or where the trim did go, and we're going to hit it with a hammer up here and try to kick it out. Get a little friction going. Heat is always good on metal. Makes it move better. Move the molecules around, it'll move better. Just cut them off, and the stem closest you can to the car, so there'll be less to grind down. If you cut it here, you got to grind down the whole shaft. You want to go all the way as close as we can. These are copper nails. You can buy them in any paint store. And there you have it. Now we'll grind these down to the metal. We'll metal prep it. And then we'll start the Bondo process, which we will be going over. We take our body pick and we hit it on top to bring out the character line. This is direct damage, this is indirect damage. Once this pushes in, that sandwiches in. So we're going to hit it here, and the pressure we're pushing down on the metal will push the dent back out and give us our character line back. As you're working, your hands is the best way to feel it, to see if it's smooth and conforming to the body line. Thank you very much. Today we'll be grinding off the nubs that we left from the nails, welding nails. This is a high-speed grinder, hydraulic. Runs on air. You need a compressor for this. And we're going to use 36 grit to take down the nubs of the nails. Eye protection and gloves for your hands. want to get these almost flat to the surface because we will be bondoing. That's the process where we cover in most of the scratches we made from the harder grit paper. We start with the harder grit paper to take down the nubs, and then we fill in the scratches with the Bondo and go to a higher grit, smoother grit, till we finally get smooth with the car. Take your time and bring it down to the surface. Keep checking the surface for any dents, high spots, or low spots, because you might have to put the nail gun back to work and keep working till it's smooth. Take your time, do it right. And there you have it. As you can see, we put on our first layer of Bondo, and it's coming along with the body line. So now we'll use a cheese grater before it totally sets. That's this tool here. Grind it, shape it, and then we'll put another coat on of the Bondo. This is our cheese grater because it resembles a cheese grater, so that's what we call it. Stanley makes this. It's a handy little tool. After the Bondo, first coat of Bondo, you scrape to get some kind of a shape of the body. And it collects inside, and they call it a cheese grater because it looks like you're grating cheese. Stay along the character lines and just shape it. What you want to do is line it up with this panel and this panel so it's straight. You always feel to make sure that it's flat. The flatter it is, the better the paint's going to look. And once we have our main shape, we will rebondo and sand and rebondo and sand until this is as smooth as this panel here. And then we will use primer surfacer to fill in all the imperfections. Next we will use the hand sander, call it a block, and 36 grit paper. That means that it's really rough, it'll really grab. And we want to do the same thing and stay within the character line and work against this panel and this panel to make this panel smooth. We use this longboard. The bigger area that you have, you should use a longer board so it stays flatter, straighter. Because once you start getting into smaller sanders, they're more for the concentrated spots. As you can see, this is why they call it a longboard, because it's long. As you can see, it's getting smoother and smoother. Now we will rebondo it again, wait for it to set up, and do the same process all over again until it's as smooth as this. Okay, here we have our bondo. It's a putty-like substance, but it won't harden unless we use accelerator. I usually use a maybe a teaspoon to a golf ball size. That's all you need to make this harden up. You want to mix it and try to keep it level with the board so you don't get bubbles in it. You want this all to be uniform, and it sets up pretty quick. See the blue? That all has to be mixed in. Once you get a good mix, we take our yellow spreader, you can use a piece of cardboard to mix this on because you'll be disposing of it, or if you'll be working constantly with bondo, you might want to buy a fiberglass board. Okay, this is mixed up. Take our yellow spreader and apply. I use a little trick that I keep the board underneath while I'm spreading, so any excess will fall back on the board and you can reuse it right away. Nice, thin, even strokes. Stay with the body line. Get it as smooth as you can. And like I say, this stuff sets up pretty quick. So once you feel it start to harden, you'll want to stop working with it. or you'll put more bubbles in it. Now most of this we're going to sand off, but as you can see, it gets smoother every time we apply and sand. As a little tip, I use the different colored hardeners. So when I'm sanding, I know when I'm at different levels, different layers. We're going to reapply, make it all uniform and smooth. We don't want two colors, we want it mixed. Perfect. Try to keep it low so there's no bubbles. Pull it across your board. And apply. Keep your board underneath to catch any excess, because this stuff gets expensive after a while when you use a lot of it. And we want to keep costs down as much as we can and get good results. As you can see, each layer gets smoother and smoother. Keep dragging it across. Check with the body line. And we will sand this layer and reapply more Bondo. And clean your tools right away with thinner, because once this stuff hardens, you got to get a new one of these, new spreader. This is the filler we've just applied. Nice and uniform. Clean strokes. And we will wait till this dries. Always look down your body line. And it's coming out quite nicely. From nail gun to the Bondo, it just takes time and practice. And you can achieve good results at home. Well, as you can see, our dent is literally gone, and our surface is looking quite nicely. As you can see, the variation between levels, the more yellow than the original blue, and we will add another coat of Bondo in a different color and keep going. And we are getting very good results. Like there it is. After we've put the last coat of Bondo on, this is a good product from 3M, Flowable Finishing Putty. If you've got any bubbles in the Bondo from mixing it too much, and you didn't get it smooth and you sanded too much, it's okay, because this stuff will fill in those holes. If you come over here, we put our last coat of finishing putty on, and you can see how smooth it actually is. We're going to wait until this sets up, and we're going to sand it down again with 80 grit paper. Thank you. And as you can see from what we've started with, we'll have to do these door jambs. We're getting some nice results. firewall's almost finished. And if you just take your time and remember where things go, you can receive professional results at home. Got the bumper guards back on, and we're going to clean up the bumper a little bit before we put that back on. And it's coming along. Piece by piece, we'll get our car back together. And you can receive professional results at home. The finishing touch, or another step when we're finished with the Bondo, is we put guide coat. This is it's a visual guide for a uniform surface. What we do is, once we get the Bondo smooth again, the final, or the time that we think that it's smooth and lining up with these two sections, we spray. It's like spray paint, and it gives you a guide as far as you put it on, and then you sand it down, and once all the black paint is gone, this is black, once all the black paint is gone, you're smooth again. You're down to a flat surface. You can do this a couple of times, but if you've done it a couple of times and you're good at it, it comes natural. We've applied guide coat. As you can see, it almost looks like spatter paint. And once we sand off the black, the surface will be smooth again. This is our driver's side fender. As you can see, there's a lot of rust and rot. So we went over and got a donor piece, sliced it off, hammered it straight, and this is the donor piece. We will grind the rest of the rust off and graft or weld this piece on as a substitute.